So, I randomly had this thought earlier, but I'm going to start out with a little bit of context. So, for the past 2 years, I was living in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. I moved there in April 2022 and did not like it. I'll talk about that more later. But now I live in San Antonio, Texas, and I've been here for like a week. I got here like April. Well, yeah, it's been a little bit over a week, almost two. I got here April 10th, and today is like the 20th. So yeah, it's been a little bit now. But the point I'm trying to make is that before that apartment was really shitty. I hated it. I was depressed. Blah 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 blah. This one and the whole city and state in general is so much better. I have a balcony now, and one of my things I actually kind of like to do is I like to look at the birds that come over to the balcony because I love birds. They are literally my favorite animal. I love them. But anyway, it's really nice to be able to just see the birds over there. I don't have to go anywhere. They come to me. I can just watch them. They do their little bird stuff and they fly away. It's cool. I like it. But it kind of got me thinking. It's like, these birds. I've always, what I'm going to say is going to sound really crazy, but I've always been envious of birds because they're free. They can do whatever they want. They can fly here, they can fly there. Birds migrate like across the world. To do that as a human, do you know the amount of money you would need and all the crazy stuff? You'd have to catch planes and trains and buses and blah, 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 blah. We don't have abilities like that, but they have the ability of natural flight. They can go wherever they want to go whenever they want to. There's nothing stopping a bird right now from flying from here to Antarctica. They just lift off and go. And it just kind of got me thinking, in general, it's a natural thing for them. That's what they do. They migrate, they change, they adapt. Humans don't really do that. We don't live in the natural world, I was just kind of thinking earlier, it's like, we are natural creatures. Yeah, we exist naturally. Humanity has been a natural species on the planet for thousands of years, but what we do isn't natural at all. We build these constructs and we've made all of these things to quote unquote make our lives easier. But is it though? Is it really easier? I personally don't think it is. It's like, sure, we have technology, we have the internet, we have healthcare, we have all of these things, these constructs and these industries and blah, 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 blah that we've made to make our lives easier. But it just kind of seems like all I ever hear anyone talking about is how much of a struggle life can be. It just kind of makes you wonder, like, if we have all this stuff, why isn't life easy? And honestly, I think it's because of the money factor. We make people pay for internet. We make people pay to live in an apartment. We make people pay for healthcare. So if we were to eliminate the whole money thing, yeah, this would be a lot better. But because you're making people pay for these services that should probably be free, let's be real, then I just kind of feel like that takes away the value of it. Everyone knows the best things in life are free, and yet nothing in life is really free. It kind of makes you wonder what we're really doing here, but I'm diverging. But what I'm really trying to say is that the natural world and what humanity is doing and currently does and continues to do not mesh. We wonder why all of these things happen and why people are so unhappy and this and that and blah, 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 blah. It's because humans don't live naturally. Look at our food. Look at the stuff we put into our bodies, You're not going to catch a bird taking steroids. You're not going to catch a salamander, getting lip injections. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing for them. Our way of life is so unnatural, and we wonder why we're unhappy, because we're kind of going against that natural flow. Earth has a natural flow. It's proven, it's scientific, it's factual. There's a natural flow of how life operates. And humans more or less go completely counterproductive to how that natural flow operates. And I think that's why a lot of disharmony in the world is because of us. Like, all the stuff that we've done, all the stuff we continue to do, the state of our world, our belief systems, our values, our morals, our cultures, they just kind of cut right through that flow. And we wonder why, stuff is so fucked up. It's only natural that this would happen inevitably. Our continued usage of like these crazy materials and hazardous substances to put in our crops or in our water, or, to make our buildings, like this stuff isn't natural. It's disrupting the natural flow. And you could say like, oh, well, it comes from the ground or it comes from blah, 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 blah. Just because you can make it, just because you can create it from natural materials that already exist does not make it natural, Like, sure, everything that we have made has to come from somewhere. Of course, it comes from a natural material, but the construction of what that thing is no longer natural because of how you designed it. Look at our like buildings that we make. These buildings are completely unnatural. We cut down like whole forests, whole, ecosystems to make these concrete buildings. It disrupts the natural flow. But if we were to take buildings that use like, materials that could biodegrade or do this or do that or whatever, and we were to build it inside the forest with the forest instead of cutting away what's there to put something of our own design in place, if we were to work with nature instead of trying to bend it to our will or just eliminate it completely, I feel like there would be a lot more happiness. There would be a lot more joy. People wouldn't get sick as often. Like, we kind of forget that we're animals at the end of the day. I know people don't want to hear that shit, but it's true. Humans are animals like every other creature. Just because we have these brains does not mean that we don't still have hormones. Doesn't mean that we don't still have instincts. We're just a different type of animal. And people just really tend to forget that 9 times out of 10. People want to think that humanity is so superior because we can do this and we can do that and blah, 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 blah. But sometimes simple is better. And that's something that I do believe the animals have over us. They realize the natural flow and they go with it instead of trying to work against it actively all the time. And I don't know. Now that I'm living in San Antonio and I'm just kind of like seeing a lot of different stuff, because like I lived in a lot of different places. I grew up in, I was born, I'll just start. I was born in Virginia, Northern Virginia. Stayed there for a little bit until I was like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 or something. And then moved to Maryland, Clinton, Maryland, where pretty much most of my childhood was. Stayed there until I was like, I don't know, from the ages of like 4 to like 14. And then went to Virginia, where I stayed until I was like, I don't know, 17 or 18. Yeah. And then from 19 to 25, I lived in North Carolina. And then from 25 to 27, I lived in Colorado. And now I live here in Texas. So, I haven't been to like radically different places, but I have been to and lived in more states than like the average person probably. So I have a little bit more perspective. Like, yeah, North Carolina, technically Northern Virginia, and Maryland, and they're all technically southern states other than Colorado, but they're different from each other. Like, you can definitely say like Maryland is not North Carolina is not Virginia, DC is its own thing, Colorado isn't even in the north, and Texas is like its own conglomerate. So it's different enough. And going through all those different states is giving me like some perspective. People are different everywhere. They all act different. They all have different values and different beliefs. But none of those values or beliefs ever really align with that natural flow. And it's just kind of crazy. The more I think about it, the more I've been here, the more I continue to see it. I don't know. It seems to be all I see these days. Just how everything disrupts the natural flow and how humans just don't really seem to give a fuck. It's like we have the ability, the power, the comprehension, the awareness to change this planet. If we wanted to end war, we could do it tomorrow. If we wanted to end disease, we could do it tomorrow. We could do it today. If we wanted to give everyone health care, if we wanted to end war, end disease, end poverty, end suffering, give everyone all the stuff they need, blah, 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 the resources are there. The only thing preventing those resources from being evenly distributed to everyone who needs them or even wants them is greed. Humans are probably the greediest animal, for sure, the most discriminative. It's like you don't really see a squirrel saying, oh, the squirrel is too light colored or too dark colored for me to talk to. They don't give a shit. They're like, you're a squirrel, I'm a squirrel, let's kick it. Defend ourselves against the hawks. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's like we have so much power. Humanity as a collective whole has the most power on this planet. Like, don't get me wrong. Humanity, number one, I'm always root for my people. I'm always pick a human over a dolphin. But it's like, you know, I just see the flaws that we have. And there's flaws in everything. But where I start to get frustrated is that these are flaws that can easily be solved if people were to just kind of just get over their own egos, stop being selfish, kind of realize that there's a little bit more going on here that we could be aligned with, and just kind of like, you know, go with that energy, the natural flow of energy on this planet, and start aligning with it and stop disrupting it. We have all this power, all this money, all this technology, all this agency, but we just don't really ever seem to do a whole lot with it, you know? Sure, we make new stuff. We make iPhones, what I'm using to record right now. You know, we make bullet trains, and we make planes, and we make cool food, and, you know, we have clubs and bars and tourist traps and blah, 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 and air fryers, but we don't really seem to do a whole lot of valuable things for humanity as a whole. Like, really tell me, when was the last time you saw a unified human culture? Not for like thousands of years, let's be real. Not since like, I don't know, probably like pre-1700s. Because like, you know, once humans got the technology developed enough and we started relying more on technology instead of each other, I think that's where it started to kind of tumble. We kind of replaced, you know, the human culture with technology. That's proven. I mean, look at TikTok, look at all the social media stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even gonna get into that. But it's like, you know, in the past, you know, you had your, you know, your human tribes, you had your hunters, your gatherers, blah, 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 you know. They worked together. Oops. They worked together. It was work together or die. Once the whole survival aspect was gone, which we don't really have anymore, like, yeah, you could still die at any point in time, but like being homeless in a city, no disrespect to the homeless people, trust me, I know it's difficult, but being homeless in a city is not the same as a jaguar on your ass. It's just not. It's just not. Yeah, it's dangerous to be homeless and sleep under a bridge, but it's a whole other thing to be lost in a jungle without your tribe and having this big cat literally about to eat you. It's different. Yes, you're still surviving, but it's a different kind of survival. It's not life and death survival. Like, there's two different kinds of survival in my eyes, and there's more, but I'm just gonna talk about two. Like, you have life and death survival. Your life is in danger. It's either survive or you're dead. And there's struggling survival. Like, you're surviving day to day. I don't know how I'm gonna get through the situation, but my life isn't in danger, kind of, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think humans clearly a long time ago conquered the whole life and danger survival for the most part. We're talking about modern society. I live in an apartment. I've never been homeless. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about regular, average 9-to-5ers like myself, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, once humans as a whole, more or less, got rid of, you know, we got rid of the predators. We kicked them out to the forest. You know, if someone ran up on you right now, that's what the 12 gauge is for. Like, you know, we've eliminated that issue. And I think once we eliminated that issue, we just kind of forgot the togetherness. We're like, okay, well, you know, it's all every man for themselves now. We don't need each other. We just kind of enjoy each other. The survival is what kept us together. That survival in the natural world is what kept us together. And I think the part of our evolution that started to spread towards, like, you know, that downward trend is when we just kind of stopped remembering that the natural world was there. I can't see the forest in my apartment. All I can see is my bathroom, my air fryer, my fridge, when you're out there in the natural world, you're aware of it. And I think it's the awareness of the natural world that has been taken away from humanity, which is why we don't recognize it, which is why we don't respect it, which is why we don't remember that it's there. You ever seen a giraffe in real life? Motherfuckers are scary. But you're never really gonna see one. And even, okay, you can say, okay, you can go to the zoo. It's not the same. It's not the same. Going to a zoo and seeing a giraffe in a cage is not the same as being out there in the safari and this big ass long neck motherfucker is running up on you and there's no one to help you. It's just different, you know? It's just different. But the main point I'm trying to make after going through all this divergent topic stuff is that I think humanity, like I used to be a pretty bleak person. I really didn't care about anyone but myself. I was like, these people are on their own. People are selfish, ignorant, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. But I guess I'm just trying to say, I don't believe that anymore. I believe that humanity has a chance. I really, truly do. Even if that chance is like 1,000,000 years from now, I believe that it's there. But I believe that for humanity to achieve that chance, that possibility, it's going to require a lot of sacrifice from people in the present day that you're never going to see. And I think that's why people don't bother, because they're so attached to the instant gratification. They're not worried about their grandchildren's grandchildren. They're only worried about them, maybe the people they know, their family member, their spouse, their friends. People are very self-concerned. They don't really think about stuff outside of their own perception. So for you to ask someone, hey, sacrifice basically your entire life to procure the benefit of a generation 100,000 years down the line that you'll never even witness, who the fuck, who's really gonna do that? Who's really gonna do that? A lot of people aren't. No one really will, but it's necessary. And it has to be done if we're gonna save our species, because Earth will be fine. People are like, we're destroying the planet, blah, 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 blah. Earth used to be a literal hellhole. It was fire and magma and rock and gas, and then it was a frozen wasteland. There's not a whole lot we can really do. Even like if we were to nuke this planet right now, it would probably recover in a couple billion years. We wouldn't be here to see it. But Earth will more or less be fine. Planets are extremely durable. They can take a lot of output. Now, would we survive? Probably not. Would the other animals survive? Maybe the cockroaches. But, even the animals, some of them might be able to adapt. Who knows? They're better at that than we are. But the point is, for us to save humanity as a species, and I think to kind of redeem the negative energy that we put on this planet, it's going to require a massive shift in consciousness on this planet. And it's going to require a lot of sacrifice. I'm talking a lot of sacrifice. Like, you don't have to like dedicate your whole life, but like, you got to be more conscious of what you're doing, what you're saying, the output that you're doing. And that requires billions of people to all do that. So I think it would take the awareness, give it to those people, how do I even put it? I don't want to ramble too much. But yeah, you would need to bring awareness to the people of the natural world, of the energy that is in, the planet and everyone on it, because it's all the same energy at the end of the day, the same atoms. Show them that, what you do to yourself is what you do to another. Pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't really understand it. And then you would have to get those people to work together. You would have to show them that there's a better way. And you would have to get them to be committed to doing that way more often than not, until clumps and clumps and clumps of more people eventually got the message, and then that would spread. It's kind of fun. You would essentially have to spread it like a virus. You would have to kind of like like a virus, like a positive consciousness virus, and kind of spread it over time. And then eventually it would enrapture the planet and people would get it together. And then maybe we could start making some change. But it would not be for a very long time. We're not talking about like 1,000 years, 100,000, probably 1,000,000 years if we make it that far for us to actually either reverse what we've done or just make it better. But who knows if that'll ever even happen. Just a random thought I had. But, you know, I used to be pretty cynical. I used to be like, it'll never happen. It could happen. Who knows? I'll never be there to see it, but I do like contemplating it. I like the idea of it. I like talking about subjects like this just because it's interesting. Even if I tend to ramble, these are completely unscripted. I just set record and I was like, whatever, fuck it. No one's watching these anyway. So, but you know, it's just something I think about. I think about it a lot. I like to problem solve. I'm not a super critical thinker, but I'm a creative problem solver, but without the constructive part that goes with it, if that makes any sense. I like to contemplate things just on a whim, just to see how they would play out. Like, ask me a scenario and how I solve that problem. If I had the resources, if I had the money, if I had the agency, how would I solve that problem? I just think about it randomly sometimes. It's just being recorded now. But yeah, you know, I used to be pretty cynical. I used to believe that there is no hope, blah, 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 blah. But I think there is hope. I think it can be done. I've seen it, actually, in a lot more people. I know I'm only like 27 going on 28, but I've seen a lot of shit. So I have seen, you know, the younger generations, they are a lot more inclusive. They are a lot more accepting of concepts they may not have been of, you know, concepts they may not have been as accepting of like in the past. Like, you know, even my generation or like, you know, I don't know, the generations, don't flame me. But, you know, Gen X and Y or whatever, boomers, millennials, alphas, I don't fucking know. But the people I've met, because I'm 27 going on 28, like, you know, I've met like some 18-year-olds, some 19-year-olds who like, you know, have a good head on their shoulders and like they know what they're talking about. And I could see them like, you know, with some help, some resources, they could change some stuff. So it does give me hope. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more cynical, but talking to some people who are a little bit more younger than me, it's shown me that it's not doom and gloom. Maybe I'm just cynical. I've gotten old. You know, I can't see stuff from a fresh viewpoint. So I'm kind of glad that I've met some people who are like, you know, 18 to 21 or whatever. They've kind of reminded me that it's not that bad and that there is hope for the future, hope for the generations. As long as you have hope, I think you have everything. It's what got me here, because I definitely shouldn't be here, but I held on to hope, and it got me through some pretty dark times. So maybe there is hope for humanity. Maybe we will get it together. Maybe the positive consciousness virus is already spreading and I just don't realize it. But yeah, just a random thought. Again, like I said, these are unscripted, so don't flame me. But yeah, just thought I'd share that. If you guys, whoever is watching this, have anything you want me to talk about, or you want me to discuss, or you just, I don't know, I know this is a long ass video. If you just, I don't know, comment if it resonates with you, or if you want to talk, or blah blah blah, or you just are like, you're fucking crazy. I want to hear it down below in the comment section. Try to act like I'm a real YouTuber or something, but I don't know. We'll see. But thank you for watching this long ass rambling video. I'm sure you have better things to do. Go do your homework or go watch TikToks. I don't know. Do something else. But that's it. So, see y'all later. Bye.